Hi everyone, Sebastian here. So today I want to talk about the differences between the Micro flat on the ground on my right and the new Micro Pro lifted on my left. So I already did a video explaining the differences and the similarities between the Micro and the Micro Pro, but I wanted you to see the difference when the Micro is flat on the ground versus lifted, because a lot of you have asked to have a Micro lifted. And that request came after the Micro was already designed. So when we designed the Micro Pro, we're like, okay, we want to have it lifted as well. So what we did is we use the same lift kit that you have for the Mini and the Mini Pro. So this is exactly the same lift kit, right? And this is going to lift the Micro Pro to about 16 inches off the ground. So 16 inches is at the same height as the Mini or the Mini Pro. Very similar to the Mega Pro. I think the Mega Pro is like 16 and a quarter. I think that most Mega Evo out there are about 16 and a quarter, 16 and a half. So this is really within the same ballpark height, okay? As a reminder, the height on the Micro flat, like this, is 5.5 inches. So we're talking about a 10.5 inch difference. But you can see how already this lift kit is just adding way more presence to the Micro. And you could probably imagine that if you put the Micro Pro lift into the studio, it looks more professional. Now, not that it is not professional when you have the Micro, but this definitely has more presence. Okay, this feels more like a heavy-duty machine. Very quickly, for the length, we're talking about the exact same length, about 11 inches difference between the length of the Micro and the Micro Pro. This Micro is a configuration number 4. You have the rear platform and a set of handles. So the length over here is about 81 inches. The width is about 23, 24 inch. The length of the Micro Pro with the rear platform is 92 inches, so about 11 inches difference. And the width is about 24 inches, so it's about an inch or so difference between the widths. So as far as the size of the machine, we're talking about the same. The weight is going to be considerably heavier on the Micro Pro. Here on the Micro 4, you have about maybe 70, 77 pounds of weight. Here, you're already well over 200 pounds because also the lift kit is 75 pounds on its own. This is not a machine that you're going to wheel around and move. The Micro, no problem. The Micro, and both machines have wheels right underneath the platform, but the Micro, you have the wheels, you can move it around. This is very maneuverable. If you're going to do Micro events, I do not recommend this. This is going to break all your movers back. I'm not doing 50 Micro Pro lifted like this. If I do an event with the Micro Pro will be flat on the ground. I am not going to add the lift kit for an event. I do not. Once you have the lift kit on, it's like a Mega, or an Evo, or Supra. You just leave it in its corner where it's supposed to be at, and that's it. But if you want to do events, if you're going to move your machines a lot around, then definitely the Micro, because you're talking about 150-pound difference really between those two machines. So it is considerable. The other thing that I want to point out, and that's really up to you. This is not for me to make a judgment or pass judgment. It's just for you to be aware that on the Micro series, the Micro Pro, the carriage is small. A small person might be able to do certain exercise like a standing on the knees, chest opener, maybe a standing on the knee biceps. You could do probably a small person talking about 5'2", 5'3", 5'4", could probably do some kneeling torso twist. But a 6'4" person can't do any of that stuff. Me, I can't really kneel on the carriage, either on the Micro. Maybe the Micro Pro can do a kneeling torso twist, but very limited. The height of the people will basically dictate what kind of exercise you can do on the carriage. But the exercise on the carriage is very restricted because it's already small. So one thing for sure, you cannot do, regardless of your height, unless you're a Smurf. Okay, if you're a Smurf, that's different. Okay, but we don't have too many Smurf customers yet. You cannot do a super lunge on the Micro. You cannot do a super lunge on the Micro Pro. It's impossible. If you want to do scrambled eggs, same thing. You cannot do a scrambled eggs on the Micro carriage. You cannot do a scrambled eggs on the Micro Pro. Even though you have the height over here, like I said, you need a very, very small person to be able to fit on the carriage to do scrambled eggs. So right now I'm telling you, you cannot do a scrambled eggs on the Micro Pro, even lifted. So think about all this exercise, like the Mega Donkey Kick and so many exercises where you need the full length of the carriage. Cannot be done on the Micro, cannot be done on the Micro Pro. However, when the Micro is flat on the ground, or if the Micro Pro is flat on the ground, right? So if you don't have the lift kit, usually if you want to adapt those exercises, the scrambled eggs, Mega Donkey Kick, super lunge, then you're going to be around the machine. So for the Mega Donkey Kick, you're going to position yourself here or there, and then you're going to pretend that this is the carriage, and then you're pushing against the carriage. For a super lunge, for example, you're going to grab your micro cables, put them on the carriage, and then you can do your super lunge right behind the micro. It's not the same as doing these exercises on the actual carriage on the Mega, but you can adapt those exercises. Right now I'm shooting all the exercises for the Micro and the Mini and the Mega, and you can pretty much adapt every single carriage exercise on the Micro if it's down on the floor without the lift kit. Same thing for the Micro Pro. If I remove the lift kit over here, I can still do my super lunge behind it. I can still do my scrambled eggs next to the Micro. I can still do my Mega Donkey Kick. But the minute you add the lift kit, you lose this privilege. So you cannot do an adaptation on the super lunge. You cannot do an adaptation on the Mega Donkey Kick. You cannot do an adaptation for the scrambled eggs and so on, because that height is too high now. You're going to have to make a decision with the exercise. You have to start to decide, how many participants do I want, and am I willing to sacrifice some exercise in order to fit more participants in class? Is the scrambled egg so important? Because if it is, then you either do scrambled eggs on the floor on the Micro, or you get a Mini Pro or Mega Pro, but you don't get that machine. Is the super lunge vital for the success of the business? For me, the answer is no, of course. I always pick more machines, because the Micro like this and the Micro Pro like that, I have over 1,000 exercises already on it. So you're not going to run out of exercise. It's just going to be different sequences. If I were going to open a chain of studios, I think the Micro Pro lifted would be the machine that I want to. Why? Because first of all, it has that presence. It looks very nice, actually. I much prefer looking at the Micro Pro on the lift kit than the Mini or the Mini Pro. I don't know why, but it's a very cute machine like this. This looks really legit to me. Not that this doesn't, but it looks more professional to me than this. Sorry to say that. I would focus on the exercise you can do on this, right? What you have on the Micro Pro that you don't have on the Micro is those panels, and those panels are just golden. I wish I thought of it before I made the Micro, but I just wasn't there, mentally. Now I'm here, so this is a fantastic product. Think about the exercise that you want to teach. Think how important it is, because the advantage of these two machines over the Mini Pro, and the Mega, it's the size. Okay, so this one, the disadvantage of the Micro Pro in relation to the Micro, it's the weight, but both of these sides is amazing. If you guys are going to open a studio with 40 square meter, 400 square feet, it's a tiny studio. Now, no judgment, but don't put 4 megaformers in there or 5. You're not going to make anything, okay? And especially if you get investors, these investors are going to take forever to get a return on their money. But now, if you work with the same amount of space and you either get the Micro or the Micro Pro, now you can double the occupancy. So now with 40 square meters, you can be at 8, 9, maybe 10 Micro Pro. That's fantastic. Now you're competitive because you have a small rent, because you have a small space, but you still have maybe 8, 9, or 10 people. And that is really the main takeaway over here. The exercise that you will do on the Micro and the Micro Pro lifted will be slightly different. I cannot tell you which one is better, because it's not up to me, it's up to you, because exercise to me is a religion. And so everybody should be free to believe in whatever they want to, and everybody should be free to exercise the way they want to. That's how I look at it. So I cannot tell you which machine is best, but I can tell you that there will be some exercise you can do on the Micro Pro lifted that you cannot do on the Micro, and there's going to be some exercise that you won't be able to do the other way around. So right now, as I'm shooting all these exercises, and it's taken me a long time, guys, so it's going to take me another 12 months to finish my list of 1,000 exercises for the Micro and Micro Pro, 1,000 exercises for the Mini Pro, and 1,000 exercises for the Mega. Once that list is completed, you will see the cross-compatibility between the machines. It's actually going to be pretty good, okay? It's not going to be drastic when you feel like, oh my God, there's like a third of the exercise I cannot do on that machine. You're going to realize that you'll be able to capture a lot. The carriage exercise for the Micro Pro lifted are going to be very different, than what you can do on the Micro. I didn't want to go too much, again, talk about, the physical difference of the Micro and the Micro Pro. If you haven't watched that video, go back to that video and watch it. But if you have any comments, questions, concern between the Micro and the Micro Pro lifted, please let me know. Email me, info@lagreefitness.com. And again, my name is Sébastien Lagree. Thank you for watching.